Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. It is time for your weekly Friday dose of Obscurities in Literature. Maybe this particular illustration looks familiar to you, maybe it doesn't. I've had it on here before. This is recent work by Shibata, who really got my attention, and I don't even know where I first discovered this, because, finding any information on some of these artists is really a needle in a haystack type thing. I think it was eventually recommended to me when I was browsing probably Alice Books or Melon Books or one of the various doujin publishers. So doujin, if you're not familiar, if you are, then you can ignore me for a sec, but are the typical self-published illustration, comic magazines, what have you, works that are independent from any major publishing company for the most part. Oftentimes existing in a bit of a gray area because they use a lot of copyrighted material. Sometimes stuff that the artists themselves have produced, sometimes using characters from various IP, programs, franchises, whatever, in their own manner, and tons of porn. And I'm not even, just every particular fetish or weird thing that you thought didn't exist probably does, and it's probably been published, but that is a whole rabbit hole that I have no intention of going down. Anyway, getting to the point, I have a very particular thing about character design type doujin. Character designs, especially of original stuff. And so Shibata's work really got my attention because it had a very Arknights-ish, almost like fantasy Chinese gacha style to it, which I particularly dig. Very reminiscent of games like Alchemy Stars, which I've shown the art book off on here before. But I was really taken by Shibata's work. And there's not a lot in that kind of Arknight style. This very grandiose, layered artwork. There's a couple of other artists, and we'll see some of their stuff eventually on this channel. I have hunted down some of their books, so we'll talk about those when the time comes. But like I've said before, I have a very specific focus when it comes to that kind of stuff. The Demarcation series is nothing but the same thing, kind of Arknights operators, their various equipment, skills, same type of art, different artist though. And Hide 448. I'm not even sure who that is. Some of these, that's the only way. Again, this is another random one. I've got quite a few of the demarcations at this point. But again, similarly, it's just one of those things that you kind of come across, and if you know type dealy. Sakurambo Lavish books, The Explorer Girls. This is an interesting one, and this is getting towards where we're going to go today. And if you saw the thumbnail, none of this has absolutely anything to do with it. I just happen to get a couple more of these books. I believe Sakurambo Lavish does a bunch of the Bunny Girl Assault or something like that books of just overly endowed girls in very revealing outfits, usually with mechs and guns and stuff. So that's up your alley. There's a lot of that. Not so much in this book, actually, and this is kind of cool. You can see here, it is a nice collection of a lot of the early Explorer Girls artwork. And what they are is they're kind of, every page has a different class, character class, and then the other page has kind of the rough breakdowns, the non-colored version, and a bit of their background, as well as skills and attacks. So yeah, we're going for a very video game feel to it. And I mean, these ones are a lot more clothed than some of the other stuff that Sakurambo Lavish has done. One of the cool things is in the back we have lots of illustrations and roughs of this stuff. So just another name, Sakurambo Lavish, if you want to go hunt some of that down. But again, getting more into that kind of Arknights vein of style, which I really happen to like. Dude even looked like who's the boss of Reunion? The general guy. I forget his name. Anyway, that's another one. We're gonna This is a pretty interesting one, and I paid a whopping 200 yen for Fleet Fantasia. This is taking the Kantai collection, or Konkole, warships of World War II, which were turned into girls, but then we're going to also then take it a step further and turn them into fantasy trope archetypes. Because, yeah, and I mean, this is still considered a doujin type book. This is completely self-published, outside of any, copyright rules, laws. Really slick, nice material for the cover. Kind of translucent end papers in here. And this one's kind of cool because, so you have the ship itself, you have the class, and then you have the breakdown, much like the Arknights' actual character art books, of how their uniforms work. Again, going into super extra detail on everything, much, again, like the Arknights' actual official art books, and then you've got, like, the skill attacks and stuff on that page, but on one of the pages. Variations. Just fun, random, weird stuff. Because I remember the Bismarck looking like a cybernetically enhanced teenager. I remember that part of World War II. Yeah. The Prince Eugen is a Saint Knight. And this is just a massive book, too. Then we get a breakdown of all the weaponry and stuff. Day in the life of, just random stuff. This thing clocks in at well over 100 and something. Oh, yeah. Well over 100 pages. Oh, and because why not? Let's now turn them into Grand Blue Fantasy characters. Just fun stuff. And there's a couple of these, so something to look out for. But that's all the self-published stuff. And getting back to the original purpose of today, we're going to talk about Shibata's newest book, which actually has been picked up and published by an actual publisher, and you've got the ISBN and everything, so congratulations to them. That's very cool. This is As Progress. Originally, I think it said it was in progress, but became As Progress, and it is a mixture of a lot of things. It's a lot of the self-published doujin stuff, so that book I was showing you earlier, a lot of that artwork is included. There may be one or two pieces that aren't, but most of it's in here. You have a lot of the client work commission, which is really interesting, and then just some other random interesting bits. It's a little bit smaller than the typical art book. So I have this Popik volume here, all Korean artists. Just happen to have it handy because I was flipping through it and looking at it. Again, just totally fun stuff to be digging through these websites. And I don't know, Surugaya had their crazy free shipping and sent me like, I don't know how many kilograms worth of books for free. They do that again, I can guarantee we're going to even go wilder than the first time. But yeah, we'll probably see plenty of the books I picked up there. But yeah, other than the size, that's a little bit of a disappointment for me. Should be familiar because that was the cover of the self-published stuff we saw a little bit earlier. But then we get into a bit of the other works. And again, if you've played Arknights, there should be a bit of a familiarity, at least in the feel of this stuff. I really enjoy that. And I've seen fan art by Shibata of Arknights characters, so I'm pretty confident that that is absolutely intentional. But I just love the detail, the layers, the excessive piling up of clothes and accessories. You can never have enough attention to wild fantasy weaponry. Jumping into the middle section of the book. Now this is where it gets kind of interesting and kind of surprising in my opinion, because underneath each of these pictures, these are some of the artist commission pieces. I know my brother hunted down Shibata on Skeb, I believe, which is the commission one, if I remember correctly. So these are actual character commissions people have requested for various things, mostly RPGs and stuff like that, which is kind of cool and sort of tempting. But check it out. So we have the illustration, and then underneath it, we have the focus of what kind of an object it is. A lot of these pieces are based on inanimate objects, but then you have the color choices as well as the duration that the piece took. Yeah, 30 minutes to whip out something like that. I don't even know what to say. I can't get to that level, but I guess if you're doing it constantly, that is pretty darn impressive. And there's just page after page after page after page after page again and again. Some of these do take a little bit longer than others, but again, here, that's only 30 minutes. And it just puts what I do to shame. Not that I'm, a professional artist or anything like that, but absolutely gorgeous stuff. Okay, this one took a whopping 60 minutes. This one looks way too tight and focused, and yeah, 5 to 7 hours. Okay, that's not unsurprising, but again, very cool. You got like the kind of background, and again, if you've played games like Arknights, those kinds of designs, in terms of layout, should look quite familiar. Here's another 5 to 7 hour piece. I am just hopping through this. It's not the biggest book. This is just shy of like 130, 40 pages maybe. Yeah, about 150. Likely we get the cross-sectional view of what's underneath the jackets. Getting into more professional stuff. I want to say a lot of these also ended up in various, I want to say like homebrew, not necessarily homebrew, but like, I guess, more indie style RPGs of various sorts. And I mean, a lot of that stuff unfortunately doesn't cross over into English very often. I know every now and then it does. Or light novels, which we do tend to see translated every now and then, but considering the sheer amount of those that get published in Japan, and there are an awful lot, yeah, we don't see a lot of that, unfortunately. This book also is relatively new. Like, I want to say this came out maybe right when we were leaving Japan. So at the tail end of, okay, I was a little bit off. I was going to say the tail end of July of 2024, but no, I guess it was the middle. I got mine at the tail end of 2024 in July. Not the tail end of 2024. All right, I'm rambling. Anyway, relatively recent book. If you can hunt it down, if you enjoy this type of artwork, if you're an Arknights fan, if you can't get enough of this style, I think Shibata is one to check out. Plus, if you do happen to find the book, it will have links to their... I thought it did. Okay, well, I thought it had like the links to their actual ongoing website stuff, but I can supply that with you. If you guys are curious, let me know. I will dump it down in the comments, and hopefully, if you're in the mood, you can get it while you can. So, with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.